So welcome back, and I was tagged by Ina from Ina the Boon Reader and Kat from her bookish side to do this tag, and I know it's already very late and we're at the last week of the year, but I'm going to do this tag anyway because why not? So this is the end of the year book tag, and yeah, let's get started. First question, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? So actually, yeah, I started a lot of books this year that I have not finished, and yeah, let me look at Goodreads. So the most recent that I started is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and this one I'm really committed to finishing before the year ends. I'm also buddy reading this with Oz. So yeah, it's YA, fantasy, dystopian. I don't think I've read any dystopian lately. I can't even remember the last time I read anything dystopian. I'm focusing on trying to finish that one before the year ends. That's my priority now. And then there's also The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This was supposed to be Book of the Month last November for the trios, but I was listening to this through an audiobook and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it in the sense that it's hard to get into because it's a culture that I am not familiar with, and I think it's because I started with an audiobook and I was not feeling the narrator. I started somewhere in November, I stopped it, and I have not continued on. What I'm planning to do before the year ends is I'm going to switch to an ebook through Scribd, and I hope that change will help me finish this one. Then a third book that I still hope to finish this year is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. It's a classic, and I started reading this after I watched the latest movie adaptation, and I really enjoy the movie adaptation. That's why I thought, okay, I'm gonna go read the book then. Then I haven't, I don't know, I stopped. I forgot when I stopped, and then I have not continued at all. So I'm not even sure if I can finish that before the year ends, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And then there's also this Financial Planning for the Fast-Changing World. I have read this a long time ago. It's a non-fiction, and this one I'm not confident I'll be reading. I'll be finishing this year. I'm not even sure I want to continue reading it yet. But yeah, there's that I've started and have not finished. So yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 books on my list that I have yet to finish for this year. So yeah. Okay, next question. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So we don't have autumn here in the Philippines, though I like the autumn aesthetics. It's orange, I like orange. So I'll just have to say no for that one. Third question, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Definitely not. Already in the last week of the year, so I don't think there's anything releasing anymore for the year. And next one, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Those 3 books are the books that I already started and I need to finish. So yeah, those books I already mentioned. Next, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I have seen people who I know who have rated The Only Good Indians highly, and they said it's good. I had a rough start, but who knows, if I continue as an ebook, maybe I'd actually like it. It still has that potential to shock me. I hope I can get to that before the year ends. So yeah. And next is That's already the last question. So, have you already started making reading plans for 2021? Actually, yeah. I don't really make plans. It's not really a set kind of plan because I can't do those kind of planning, but the usual, a minimum of 12 books for next year, because I expect next year, starting January, to be a busy year for me. But of course, I think one book a month would be good. Would be a good baseline. It would be a good baseline for the number of books I plan reading for 2021. And I just decided this a few weeks ago that I plan to read more ebooks for next year. So I'm basically planning on decreasing my print books purchases. So hopefully the only print books I'll be getting next year are those that are given to me or are in a very, very, very good deal. Because in this way, I'm kind of thinking that this way, if I limit myself, if I restrict myself to only reading ebooks next year, then that means I'll be able to restrict myself from impulse buying books. And I hope that will really cut down on impulse buying books. Which actually, that was my plan for this year, to decrease the number of books I'm buying. And because due to the pandemic, since I couldn't go out as much as I wanted to before, and I didn't get to go into that many bookstores, I think I have cut down on my usual number of books bought a year, I think. But yeah, for next year, definitely, if I'm going to restrict myself to just ebooks, then there's going to be a huge cut down on the number of books I'll be spending on. And I think it was Ina from Ina the Mood Reader who was talking about a book buying ban, but instead of actually just banning herself, it's more of limiting the amount of spending for a book. I think that's a better idea than actually banning yourself from a book. The more I tell myself that I will absolutely not buy any book, the more that sales keep popping up everywhere. It's like, why are you doing this to me, universe? And yeah, so I think it's a better plan would be, instead of absolute ban from buying books, is to limit by setting a specific amount to spend. Let's say I'll set aside 1,000 pesos for this month for buying books. And if I don't spend it for that month, I can add that one for the next month. So for January, I get 1,000, and then for February, another 1,000. And if I don't spend them at all for that month, by some miracle, then I can go and spend it all in one time. I think that would be a good idea for next year. But I have to think about what would be the right amount to set aside. 1,000 sounds a little too much for a month. So maybe 500 a month. So yeah, the only problem there is that brand new print books these days usually cost 600 to 700 pesos. Kind of is a problem, but at the same time also a solution, because if I limit myself to only 500 pesos a month, then I will be forced to not spend for that month, or just not buy a brand new book. Instead, go for a pre-loved book, which is usually less than 500 pesos. So I guess that should be a good idea. And yes, I am making all this up right now. So yeah, that's the plan for 2021. I hope this pandemic is already over by next year, sooner. Book sales will definitely be popping up here and there. Who knows, maybe Big Bad Wolf will finally come back, and if I restrain myself from spending too much every month, then I'll have enough to spend once a huge sale comes. So hoping that plan actually materializes. So yeah, that's it for this book tag. And I'm really bad with tagging people, and this is the end of the year book tag. I don't think anyone else wants to do this since it's already last week of the year. But yeah, if you're watching this and you want to do a last minute end of the year book tag, then go ahead. There you go, your tag. So yeah, this probably my last video for the year. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can still film just one more for the year. Anyway, yeah, see you in the next video, or next year, probably. I don't know. Bye.